This is about power politics. This is Obama declaring war on his enemies with specific terms. John Brabender is a Republican strategist, and Margie Omero. Is it Margie or Margie?
Margie.
Margie's a Democratic pollster and strategist. Well, look, here's what I think he's doing. He's laying down what looks to be the beginning of a discussion. Republicans will love corporate tax cuts. A drop he's offering from 35 down to 28, down to 25 for manufacturing. He's saying, I'm also going to spend more money on highways, something Republicans have always supported in the Appropriations Committee. Republicans love spending money on highways. They come from rural areas. They love to spend that money. It means economic development in rural areas. And number three, he's saying, I want a minimum wage. All the Republicans have to do, John, play Mr. Republican here, is say, you know what, we like that corporate tax cut. Yes to that. On the infrastructure, we'll do it as long as you don't waste money. I want it spent, okay? On real construction, I want to smell the construction. And three, the minimum wage, I'm not going that high. We'll give you a little, but not all the way. We'll give you a cost of living adjustment for that. Why don't you guys come back positively on the Republican side?
Well, first of all, I do think there's a mistake among Republicans that we have this Pavlovian response that any time Obama opens his mouth, we're going to criticize and say no. And I actually had some hope for this speech that maybe he would say something that we could agree with. The problem is Obama took a speech that he could have unified people, talked about middle class and hardworking family jobs, and instead he turned it into a political speech where he rapped the Republicans, he complimented himself, and what he put forward was raise taxes over here so we can create temporary projects.
Taxes?
He's calling it get rid of loopholes. That's code for him that he's going to find a way.
That's always been the case of lowering rates. The only way you lower rates is to get rid of loopholes.
But why didn't they get rid of them before then? All he's doing is he's finding revenues over here so he can create temporary projects, not careers for hardworking families.
I'm sorry, I've studied Reagan for years, and Reagan said lower rates is the key issue. Get the rates down and people want to invest. Your thought, Margie. It just seems, Margie, he's talking Republican talk here. He's talking spending money on real construction, not BS waste. He's talking about real construction jobs that's helping business. And he's talking about business getting a huge break on the tax side.
Right. I mean, absolutely. Why don't Republicans come to the table and try to negotiate?
What a counteroffer.
Right. Exactly. That's what the American people want.
Let's take manufacturing, okay?
Why don't you guys come back with a counteroffer?
I do. I'll have one for you right now. Manufacturing, what he said is we're going to give discounts to people who come back here. Well, that's not fair to existing manufacturers who never left. Why don't we get rid of tax completely for manufacturers and just get the payroll tax? Make America make products again.
Get rid of the taxes on all corporations that manufacture.
Well, manufacture. Why have it?
Why don't we get rid of the government that goes with it?
Well, that's a different argument for a different day. But I'm just saying,
what do you want to get rid of?
Why not let American workers compete?
What government are you for getting rid of when you get rid of all this revenue?
No. You're not getting rid of it. You get all the manufacturing back here.
The dynamic scorekeeping. I know. This is what the Republican Party is doing, and I'm afraid. I think for the country's interest, it's not working. I'm afraid it is working. I'm afraid this no-go thing is working. Well, what he's somewhat defending.
It's not. Maybe Republicans think this is a good political strategy, but that's not borne out by the data. Washington Post found last week a majority of Republicans feel that the leadership of the party is taking them in the wrong direction.
Is that on immigration or on economics?
Total.
Yeah, I wonder.
Total. And then...
Let's show those numbers. Do we have those numbers? Basically, it says that among Republicans, they think their leadership is not going in the right direction. As you just said, Margie, 37% say it's going in the right direction. Among Democrats, on the other hand, they like the way the president and the leaders in the House are doing it. Look at that. In the Senate, 72% say right direction. How do you respond to that? Your party's not being represented well.
And they're not. I mean, let me, first of all, the problem that...
You're here for the Republicans' party.
I understand, but I'm not going to play the role where I have to agree with everything they say. I think they're making a big messaging mistake. And that is, they no longer are fighting for hardworking middle-class families. They don't act like they relate. Obama catches us in the rope-a-dope all the time and lets us fight for tax breaks for the wealthy. And what that really does is have hardworking Americans think we don't understand their life and we're not their advocate.
You're back for Rick Santorum's father's big hands.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is as a party, we're not going to grow. We're not going to get the White House back until those people believe we're fighting for them.
Okay, what does the president have to do? Here's my concern. I think we're going into the fall, which is not my concern. I love the fall. But we're going into the fall, and what it looks like is that not everybody in your party, but the Cruzes and the Rand Pauls and Mike Lee, the new guy from Utah, are basically planning to put a stranglehold around the United States government. And they're going to bring it to a crawl, and it's going to affect the economy. It's going to affect the stock market. And not only will they bring a stranglehold to American politics, as the economy starts to slow in its recovery, they'll have a double whammy. They'll say, Margie, don't you see this coming? And come Christmas, when we should be having all these Christmas sales and making money for everybody and holiday season, the economy will be slowing. The Republicans will be saying the economy is slowing. It's all because of Obama, and it will be because of their slowing and actually shutting down the government.
I hope that that's not what happened. And I hope that Republicans are not looking at sabotaging the economy is going to, one, be good for them politically, two, good for the people in their district. If they go home and they talk to the people who are struggling and they think, okay, well, I can live with that because I've scored a point against Obama. I mean, I don't want to believe that folks come to Washington and that's their goal. But
do you believe it? Are you being rhetorical here? You don't believe that's what they're doing? I believe it's what they're doing. I think it's exactly what they're doing.
I think there may be a few people who feel that way, but I really don't.
They think they're Samson in the temple. They think they're just bringing it down. They don't even know what they see. They just bring it down.
There's plenty of blame on both sides.
Okay, let's take a look at this. I don't think the president wants to bring things down. He wants the economy to cook. Anyways, today he was out talking about the Republicans. Let's listen to him.
So the point is, if Washington spent as much time and energy these past 2 years figuring out how to grow our economy and grow our middle class as it spent manufacturing crises in pursuit of a cut-at-all-costs approach to deficits, we'd be much better off. I don't want to go through the same old arguments where I propose an idea and the Republicans just say no because it's my idea. Wasting the country's time by taking something like 40 meaningless votes to repeal Obamacare is not a jobs plan. That's not a jobs plan.
That's become his applause line, by the way.
Yeah.
Trying to repeal Obamacare is not a jobs program.
My advice to the president is, and I mean this honestly, whoever wrote that speech, he should fire them. Because that was a very divisive speech at a time where he had a good topic to talk about. Everybody cares about jobs and economic development. He could have actually brought America together, and he gave a very divisive speech that did nobody.
Who would have responded to him if he had done what you said? Who would have called up and said to the press, I got to talk to the press. I'm calling a press conference. The president really was positive today. Let's work together. Who would have said that?
There is an opportunity.
Who?
There is so much hunger in this country for people to see them actually work together on both sides. There's such a hunger from that.
I think everybody's, Margie, you're the Democrat here. I think they've given up on Boehner having the leadership skills to do that.
I mean, he's not even saying where he stands on key issues. I mean, it's unfortunate. Of course, the president's going to highlight what the obstacles are. I mean, it's important for us to be reminded. And that's the American people know what's happening. They see that they blame Republicans more than they blame Democrats, 2-1. They know where the
we only have one economy, and it's coming along, but it's not great. And housing's getting better, and some signs are getting better. But I'll tell you, if this is the recovery, it's not great. And the two parties could kick this thing up to a much higher gear if they work together. I know that. We all know that, and they're not doing it. Anyway, John Brabender, he's done a good job tonight, not really defending the Republicans, which was the right job to take tonight. And Margie Omero, thank you for coming on. Up next, this is hot.